The beauty of Major League Baseball, and really sports in general, is that any player at any time can accomplish something monumental and memorable. Someone that had the briefest of careers can still achieve a feat that lives on in fame years later. A classic example of this involves the pitcher on screen right here, Devern Hansack. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that most people watching right now have never heard of him. You really had to be a die-hard Boston Red Sox fan in the mid-2000s to remember Hansack, as his career was as brief as one could get. Devern Hansack played in Major League Baseball for 3 seasons from 2006 to 2008, all with the Red Sox. During that period, he appeared in just 9 games, starting 3 of them, and threw 24 1/3 innings. For what it's worth, he has 2 career victories with an ERA of 3.70, adjusted ERA of 132, and earned 0.4 WAR. During his time in the big leagues, he was only ever called up to the active roster in one of 2 scenarios. Either A, when the rosters expanded in September, or B, when someone got injured and Boston needed an emergency pitcher. While it's easy to look at the numbers and not see much going on, Devern Hansack actually pitched one of the most unique games in recent history. The game in question occurred 18 years and 3 days ago on October 1st, 2006. For all intents and purposes, this game was absolutely meaningless. It was the final game of the regular season, and the Boston Red Sox hosted the Baltimore Orioles at Fenway Park. The Red Sox were in 3rd place in the American League East Division entering this game, and were eliminated from playoff contention. The Orioles were right behind them at 4th, and obviously were also eliminated. Given that this game was a wash, Boston handed the ball to the rookie pitcher, making his 2nd career start. Funny enough, Hansack's MLB debut came a week earlier on September 23rd, and entering that game, the Red Sox were 7.5 games out of a playoff spot with only 8 games left to play. Since Hansack only started these 2 games once Boston was officially eliminated from playoff contention, it's clear that he was only used because the Red Sox needed somebody to start. It makes total sense to rest your main starters once you're out of a playoff race. Just to add insult to injury, however, this game's start time was delayed significantly due to rain, where first pitch was pushed back nearly 3.5 hours. Originally a 2:05 p.m. start time, it rained hard all afternoon with occasional drizzle lingering even as the game was about to start. I'm actually genuinely surprised this game just wasn't called off and cancelled. Although rare, we do sometimes see very late season games get cancelled if they were postponed due to rain. It actually happened as recently as 5 days ago. On September 29th, the Cleveland Guardians were set to host the Houston Astros on the final day of the regular season. However, the game got rained out, and since there was no room left in the schedule to make it up, and it had 0 impact on the standings, the game simply got cancelled. This 2006 game seems like a perfect candidate for cancellation, but for whatever reason, both teams waited out the 3.5 hours, and the Red Sox took the field at 5:28 in the evening, just as every other game in the league had already finished. Moving on to the game itself, there probably wasn't a single person in the stadium that expected Devern Hansack to have the performance he did, but as mentioned before, that's the beauty of baseball. In the top of the first, he got Corey Patterson swinging for his first strikeout, and would get the next batter, Melvin Mora, to fly out en route to a 1-2-3 inning. In the bottom half, Boston got him run support right away. With 2 on, third baseman Mike Lowell hit a 3-run home run, and the Red Sox jumped out to a quick 3-0 lead. In the top of the second, Hansack got Miguel Tejada caught looking for his 2nd strikeout, and following a walk, he induced a 6-4-3 double play to keep Baltimore without a run. In the top of the third, Hansack continued to keep the Orioles off the scoreboard, getting 2 groundouts and a flyout for 3 scoreless innings so far. Meanwhile, the Red Sox added to their lead in the bottom half. With the bases loaded and 2 outs, Carlos Pena drew a walk to force in a run. The next batter, Gabe Kapler, hit a liner down the left field line that cleared the bases, and suddenly in the 3rd inning, Boston had a commanding 7-0 lead over Baltimore. The Red Sox would not need all those runs, however, as Hansack was in complete control. He struck out Brian Roberts to lead off the 4th inning, and got Corey Patterson chasing again for the 2nd time in as many at-bats. Boston would tally another run in the bottom of the 4th thanks to a Mark Loretta homer, and they led 8-0 heading to the top of the 5th. It was here where the rain picked up again, but that wouldn't stop Hansack. He struck out Miguel Tejada for the second time this game to lead off the inning, and also got the next batter, Fernando Tatis, caught looking for 6 strikeouts so far on the day. During this inning, the rain took a turn for the worse. As we can see in several shots, the rain pouring down on the players and cameramen alike. Despite the bad weather, Hansack didn't falter, and he got the third batter of the inning, Chris Gomez, to fly out to center field for another 1-2-3 inning. Leading off the bottom of the 5th was Eric Hinske, and just to keep pounding on the Orioles, he crushed a home run of his own to extend the Boston lead. That would be the only run the Red Sox scored, and through 5 innings, not only was Boston leading 9-0, Devern Hansack had yet to allow a hit. He was set to take the mound in the 6th to continue his no-hit bid, but he never got the chance. Before the top of the 6th started, the umpires got together, and crew chief Larry Vanover suspended play due to the rain. The players were taken off the field, and out came the Fenway Park grounds crew to get the tarp on the field. For Devern Hansack, all he could do was wait in the dugout and wonder how long this delay would last. That delay would last 43 minutes, but the game didn't resume after those 43 minutes. It ended. In another rare event, occasionally do we see games end without going a full 9 innings. You see, the MLB rulebook states that if a game has gone at least 5 innings, one of those teams has the lead, and that game cannot be continued for whatever reason, it will officially be called. That scenario also happened as recently as this year in 2024. In a game on July 4th between the Minnesota Twins and Detroit Tigers, the Twins were leading by a score of 12-3 entering the bottom of the 7th. Right as Max Kepler was set to come to bat with 2 runners on base, the umpire suspended play due to harsh rain. Detroit had to travel to Cincinnati for a game against the Reds the following day, so due to travel plans and the fact that the Twins had the lead, the game was officially called right then and there. Here's a photo of the box score from that day. Exact same situation for this Red Sox-Orioles game. Since the Red Sox were winning after 5 complete innings and the rain wasn't stopping, the game was called. 43 minutes usually isn't a long time to wait to officially end a game, but for this one, it makes complete sense from a logistical standpoint. It was a meaningless game on the final day of the season after a near 3.5-hour rain delay. When this game was called, it was almost 8 p.m., nearly 6 hours from the original start time. Players, executives, and staff alike already had travel arrangements planned, so it would cause a lot of unnecessary, last-minute changes to wait out the rain any longer. All the stats from this shortened game count for the record book, so while he only threw 5 innings, Devern Hansack was credited with a complete game shutout. However, he was not credited with a no-hitter. MLB rules also state that a no-hitter must go at least 9 innings. You cannot have a shortened game be a no-hitter. It's just one of 22 instances in MLB history, and one of 8 since the end of World War II, where a pitcher threw a complete game shutout without allowing a single hit, but was not credited with a no-hitter due to pitching fewer than 9 innings. That's again 22 such games ever, and just one of 8 in the past 80 seasons. On his unofficial no-hitter, Hansack was quoted saying, "I wasn't disappointed because nobody can stop the rain." He also said that he was excited and surprised by his performance, as he was out of baseball for a couple of years before returning to the minor leagues in 2005. Also, fun fact, despite just making 3 starts in his career, Hansack does not hold the record for fewest number of starts to have also thrown a shutout. There have been 9 players in MLB history to have thrown a shutout in their one and only start, and in total, 30 pitchers have thrown a shutout in 3 or fewer career starts. He is, however, the most recent pitcher on this list to accomplish that feat. In the final game of an otherwise disappointing and unnoteworthy season for the 2006 Boston Red Sox, rookie pitcher Devern Hansack achieved one of baseball's most rarest feats. In just his second career game, he threw a shutout without allowing a single hit, but thanks to the weather, he was not credited with a no-hitter. It goes to show that even a player that appeared in just 9 games in his career can still make baseball history.